This little thing you see in my hands almost took the life of my daughter, and took 4 surgeries and 4 long months in the hospital for us to have her back. And 5 years later, this somehow finds its way back to my home. So you can begin to imagine the emotional roller coaster I'm in right now. But when I saw it, I thought everything happens for a reason, and there obviously should be a reason why God made this to get into my house and for me to see particularly today. So I thought to share my story with you. Not all of it, but just what is important. I have put a timer on this video so that when it rains, wherever it rains, I'll stop, because there is no way I am going to explain 4 months in the hospital. I would say 4 very traumatic months in the hospital for my family, for our entire families who kept on calling us, families and friends who kept on calling us to ask us, haven't you guys yet left the hospital? And we said, no, we haven't yet left. As I hold this, sincerely, I don't even know what to do with it. But you might not know what it is. It's a battery. It's like a coin. I'll try to insert a video of me spinning around it so you can see it in close view. And what I noticed is that today it was made in China. Behind it is written CR2032 lithium battery, and there's some Chinese writing under it, and then there's a 3V. So I assume that this was created in China, like most of the things we have in our homes. And this second one got into my home from a bottle. These bottles that keep things warm and then tell their temperature and all that. Yeah, that's how it got into my home. We didn't buy it. We got it from a conference or something. I wouldn't want to go into that. But these batteries are also found in toys. The one which almost killed my daughter, we assume that it came from a solar panel remote, because at the time, I've always been a very careful mom, and at the time I was running my NGO in Yango, which means mothers in my dialect, and I was teaching mothers how to take care of their kids, and then boom, my child swallows this. As I tell you, this with a little bit of negligence can kill your child, because we got my daughter back after 4 intensive surgeries, 4 long months in the hospital, and lots of millions spent. Something which, if the hospital system took us seriously from the first day that we went, because immediately I started noticing, oh, she's struggling to eat, we took her to the hospital the very next day. If they had found it then, they would have removed it. We wouldn't have had to stay in the hospital for 4 months. There are so many lessons that I learned from this experience. It's part of the reasons why when I talk to mothers, I might look really young. I might not be the very famous coach. And that's not my aim for everything that I do. I don't want to be famous. I want to address things that actually help people make change. If I can help 100 mothers change their life, or 100 families change their life, change their outlook on what it is to raise kids to reach their full potential, raising the kids that God actually gave you, not the ones that you envision that you want to have, then I think that I must have done a really great job. Because with my own 2 children, if I can nurture them to the best of my ability, I would have left so much impact in the world. Because just the 2 people or the 2 kids I have in my care, each day they meet about 23 kids who are their classmates and the other kids that they interact with. and it's just 23 because they are in the same class together. They are twins. Imagine if they had separate classes. That would be like 60 people that they get into contact with, including the teachers. That's more, including maybe the bus driver and the other kids who are in the bus that they enter. That's a lot of people I'm touching every single day if I can invest in this my 2 kids with all that I have. Now this could be either a wake-up call for you to check the toys that your kids have in the house. Something that I do every time is after every 3 months, we bring all their toys out, puzzles, everything, and we select out the ones which are broken, the ones which need maybe to be fixed, and all that kind of stuff. But most times I don't have toys in the house which have batteries. Excuse me, let me not take it close to my mouth, I beg. Excuse me. Most times I don't have toys in my house which have batteries. Now, yes, they have a couple of toys which have the long battery, which is like my finger. But toys which have this particular battery is a no-no for me. Because as I hold this, I don't even know what to do with it. I cannot throw it outside because I fear another child might pick it up. I don't know, I think, okay, an idea just came. I'm going to flush it. That's what I'm going to do. Because I think down there, nobody's going to be able to access it, or this is not going to be able to harm anybody. But this could be a call for you to check your children's toys. Sometimes there are toys which might have batteries and you might not even know. Just the same way this could bypass us, because where it came from was like a remote. We assume that this came out from a remote, and maybe my daughter swallowed it while trying to open the remote or something, because while I was trying to remove this from where I saw it today, I realized that it's in a way that you have to either use a stick to remove it. At one point I thought of, oh, let me just bite the thing with my mouth, the place which was holding it tight, let me just lift it up with my teeth. That's the first idea that came to my head. And it all painted the whole picture of how my daughter could get this into her mouth. Being a child who didn't first of all like food at the time, and she was not somebody who put things in her mouth. But if the first idea that came to my mind on trying to get this out was to use my teeth to lift the iron which was on it, then I can imagine what could come to a child's mind. I finally used the toothpick to push it down for it to come out. But take out the time today, or plan for a day within the week where you can sit with your kids and check their toys, remove the ones that are broken. Toys, I believe, were not made for kids to play with them alone. I cannot speak on that because I've not completed my research when it comes to toys and what was behind the person who first created toys. What was behind his mind? What was he thinking? I'm still doing research on that. Most times my videos take a lot of time to come to you because I don't want to put information here that I'm not sure of. Dear mother, dear father, dear auntie, dear uncle, dear teacher who has toys in her class, check your toys for the ones that are broken. Toys which have batteries are dangerous for kids below 5. They might write it on the toy, how do they used to put this? Choking hazard. Yes. But most times, parents don't even take out the time to read. They just see the toy, or the child just like the toy and gets it for them. That is why I'll insert this here, but that's not the aim of this video. That is why Apple Melon is the best place to get toys for your kids. I am the founder of Apple Melon, and for everything that I do with Apple Melon, it has come from a place of, I don't know, so much thought, research, experience that has pained my heart. You know what it means to be in the hospital with your child for 4 straight months, and they are cutting your child from left, right, center, a 2-year-old child. There are times that I sat and I asked God, whatever you're trying to teach me with this, please, I've learned and I'm tired. You have just let me go through this. I will insert a video that I found online on how we used to feed our daughter. I think that was around after the 2 months mark, because first we used to feed her through her nose since she couldn't swallow things. She could not eat with her mouth for 4 months. We fed her through her nose, we fed her with a pipe through her nose, and then later we graduated feeding her with a tube through her tummy. I'm going to try to insert it here. But I'm not going to do much editing on this video, because if I sit there and want to make it perfect, this video might never get out to you. Check your children's toys. That's the first thing I want to say. Another thing that I learned from my journey with my child in the hospital and all the surgeries and all was that nutrition plays a very big role in everything we do with our kids. Nutrition. When I got to the hospital, they were telling me since we had to feed her through her nose, that meant liquid food always. We had to blend food to feed her. In the first hospital where we were, they were just so amazing. I would not want to call their name here, but I think it's one of the best hospitals that we have in Yaoundé, where I'm based off of how they take care of their patients. Yes, they have their flaws, but with them, they blended food every single day and brought to me to feed my child. And their nutritionist specially formulated what we needed to be feeding the child. Yes, and all that. I didn't know what was inside the food, but most times it was the food that they put for us, who were there, as we call it in Cameroon, garde malade, to eat, which was blended and made for the child, and then them adding some more calories into it so that the child could gain weight. By the time we got to the hospital, my daughter, who was 14 kg at 2 years old, she was always a slim girl, was at 11 kg after 10 days of this being inside her. 10 days because I'm calculating from the day that I noticed that she wasn't eating. And I think it was a Saturday. Yes, if I remember right, it was Saturday that I noticed she didn't eat, and her father was coming back from a trip on Sunday. So immediately he came back, we took her to the hospital on Sunday. Imagine that they noticed that she had this in her on Sunday. It would have been removed through a very simple surgery that, yes, they'll put the child under full anesthesia, but they would have removed this without it removing the lithium that is in it and causing all what it caused inside my child, and leaving her to go through all the pain and the trauma that she went through. So nutrition is vital, because due to the fact that when they were small, most times they didn't, up till now, when they see sugar cubes, they're like, "Mommy, what is that?" I didn't feed them anything that was made with sugar. I mostly gave them fruits, vegetables, blended most of the time because they were picky eaters. So throughout the time that we were in the hospital, even when her weight had gone down to, 8 kg at 2 years old, for you to hold this little girl down to put her the needle for her infusions was a whole other ballgame. The nurses were like, "What do you feed this child?" As tiny as she has gotten, the strength that she still has in her body is something else. When we got to the second hospital, I realized that what the nutritionist wrote for me to give my child, they were like, "Oh, when you make the food, add extra oil. So add a lot of oil so that the child should get calories from oil." So that is her getting calories from fats. Fats which, yes, they said olive oil. Olive oil is a bit healthy, but why oil when there could be other things that are high in calorie and also rich in nutrients? And from 2020 to when I wrote my first book, which was the Apple Melon Cookbook, I was doing research on nutritious foods for my child, because for like 2 months that I was in the hospital, I had to make these nutritious foods that my child had to take through the pipes by myself. It took a lot of reading, it took a lot of research, but I bet you if you don't have the Apple Melon Cookbook, it's okay, you can find it. I don't want to blame you for anything, because I believe that you probably didn't know about it or you're just hearing about it now. But that came from this journey. Nutrition. Another thing that I learned from this journey is mothers. If you want to raise amazing children while you're young, I know most of us now are already old, we're already married to the men that we chose, but you can do better with your daughters. Train them to see themselves worthy enough to choose the best man in the pool that are coming for them. When I talk about the best man, I mean a man who is grounded, a man who wouldn't blame you, a man who will stand with you and stand by you even in the most traumatic situations. As I mentioned earlier, By the time this happened, I had a group of more than 100 mothers that I was coaching on how to raise their kids. So you can imagine the guilt that hit me when my own daughter had to get into this kind of situation. The guilt, the blame, and to my greatest surprise, when my husband came to the hospital that morning, because he knows the sacrifices I made. I was not working at the time. From when I got pregnant with twins, it was a very complicated pregnancy, and I had to drop everything to take care of my children. Despite all of that, with a situation like this, I can say about 80% of husbands will blame it on you, the woman. What are you doing that she swallowed this thing? What are you doing? When he came and I told him, because they did the x-ray in the night when he had gone home with my son, my daughter's twin brother, when he came in the morning and I told him that they said they saw something in her throat. It could either be a coin or a battery. I told him with tears in my eyes because it was too much for me to bear. Given how much I had given to raise these kids, I couldn't imagine that something like this could be happening to me. The first thing he said was, I know in your mind you might be blaming yourself right now, but children are children and accidents happen. You have been the best mother that these children could ever have, and so I don't want you to blame yourself on this. And remember, we are in this together. We take the blame together. If you're blaming yourself, blame me too. We take the blame together, we would walk this journey together and find a solution to this problem together. So don't let it disturb you. It's not your fault. Children are children. That melted my heart, but it had to take so much more to get me not to feel that guilt. And even till this day, when I look at this and I look at the number of scars that she has on her body, I still blame myself a little, even though I know, yes, children must be children. But maybe there was something I could do, or maybe not, because the whole journey led me to learn so much. So dear mothers, if you've already made the mistake to choose a man whom you think that is not the man that will support you in a situation as devastating as ours, there's one thing you can do. To every man, when they have a woman, they love to chase. They love to still be in control, feeling like they are the head, they are taking care of you. To put it in simple words, no matter how your marriage is, or no matter how your relationship with your partner is, there is one thing you can do that will begin to change things a little bit at a time. Create time to take care of yourself. Set healthy boundaries, even with your spouse. Let them know that they cannot just treat you anyhow because you're a human being too. Take care of yourself. Love yourself as much as you want that man to love you. Loving yourself or taking care of yourself is not selfish. If you truly love the people who are in your life and you want to give them your best, then you should be at your best to be able to pour, not from an empty cup, but from a cup that is filled with all the good things that could be in that cup. Because there are cups which are filled, but not with the right things that are supposed to be filled in that cup. That's another lesson I learned. The last one I'm going to talk about here is the fact that when you choose a path, I don't know if I'll say challenges will come, God will test you, or the devil will test you. I don't know where it came from. But when you truly choose a path, be ready to experience that path. Sometimes God will let us go through these things, not because He wants to punish us, but when you have chosen a certain path, there are things that you will experience that will make you, that when you are talking about that particular thing to a mother, you will not just be talking from things that you have read, because today there is information overload. So anybody can pick a book and read about one thing and learn about one thing in the internet and begin to write about one thing. There is AI. You can just tell AI, write me what it means to be a good mother, and AI will give you But there is something about when you actually choose a path and you don't have just knowledge from books or from courses, but you have experiential knowledge. There's the knowledge that experience will give you that I don't think that anything else can. And there is a way to pass through an experience and pick the knowledge. The people will go through terrible challenges and then they come out from it without learning anything. There is a way that you have chosen. When you have chosen a path, you will face certain challenges. When those challenges come, I want to tell you something. Don't think of them as things that are crushing you. Look at them from a place and tell yourself that God, I see that you're trying to teach me something, whether it's God or it's the universe or whatever you believe in. Excuse me. Realize that that's a learning process, and be open to learn every single lesson that is in that process. The things I learned from this particular experience, I cannot say it in one video because every single day, every single moment had a lesson. So if you've chosen a path, this is a reminder. Decide to go deep. When you choose a path, be open to learn. Be open to go deep. Be open to receive the challenges that will come with it. And find the lesson in that challenge. The last thing I want to tell you as I close this video is our medical system in most African countries is very poor. You could actually have money and still lose your loved one. The sad thing is, the people who suffer the most are children. Children have nobody to help them. Children, their immune systems are not that well developed. They cannot fight so much. While we were in the hospital with our daughter, 2 kids who were just opposite her died. In the 3 different hospitals that we were, in 2 of the hospitals, we had our neighbors who were opposite us die, kids too. And we had this little girl who had already gone through so much. Our medical system is poor. I'll speak for my country. There might be specialists, but these specialists, since they work for the government as well, they do their own maybe private hospital. For you to find them and get to their hospitals, you need to have connection. Imagine you have a dying child and there's a specialist, and for you to even know where the specialist is, somebody has to take you there. Because nobody can freely tell you where it is. They are afraid of getting into problems. Our medical systems are poor, but there is something we can do as mothers. It is better that you invest your time to take care of your kids, monitor what they eat, monitor a lot of things that can help them stay healthy, how they play, who they interact with. When something starts small, try to start targeting it from when it's young. Try as much as you can that your child doesn't get into a situation where they have to stay in the hospital for a long time. Because you will truly see what I saw. After 3 months of my child being in the hospital, there was one of the surgeries that they had to do that we had to donate. We had to look for donors and donate blood. We're in a new town. We didn't know many people. I called a couple of people whom I knew from what I was doing, that I met, that they claimed they were blood donors. I'm like, we need blood. Can you please help us? And we didn't get any valid answers. I remember there was one of the women who were in my group who got me somebody to donate blood. But before she came, it was already late. That I and my husband, in that stressed position, already had donated blood for my daughter. There also, I discovered that donating blood isn't as mystical as they make it look. And there I made one promise to God, to the universe. And I said, God, if you let my daughter go through this and come back alive, I will ensure that I donate a pint of blood every 4 months, as they say women should. And I will try my best to stay in the best possible health So I'm always eligible to donate. Until date, since 2020, I do it. I look healthy, I'm fine, I've not died. There's no time when I've donated and I fainted or had any complications. Most times I finish donating and I want to leave because I have to pick my kids most of the time. And they are the ones telling me, no, you have to sit for 30 minutes. Because for me, it's that easy. Our hospital systems are not favorable to very complicated health situations. So we have to try our best to be as healthy as we can. Whether it's eating healthy meals, whether it's working out, whether it's staying in the best mindset, taking care of our mental health, pushing stress away in one way or the other. So we don't have any chronic diseases that have to require specialists. Kids will get sick from time to time, the malaria, the cough, the cold, the flus from time to time, and those kind of stuff. But please, do the work now. Because if you prioritize going to work and following that career, something about kids being in the hospital is, you might have your nanny. When your child is in the hospital, the nanny cannot come and be with that child. You will have to drop everything to be with the child. So instead of following that career and leaving everything about your child to someone else to manage them, that you cannot really supervise and control what they are doing with your child when you are not there, dedicate some time each day to truly be with your child, to truly monitor what is going into their bodies, so you can actually have time to follow that career, to do that thing that you love, to earn that money that you want to earn, so that you don't eventually use all the money that you've worked to fix problems. As you can hear from my case, I've always been a very intentional mother. Some things that might appeal to you and other mothers out there is, oh, if you're so intentional, how are your kids doing now? And how could you get into this kind of situation? One thing that shows you how intentional I am is the fact that my kids started reading at 3 years old. You don't find kids around here doing that just like that. And when I talk about reading, I don't talk about this is apple, book. No. My kids could read. This is a boy going to school. They could read storybooks at the age of 3. So I'm a mother who doesn't play. I'm a mother who puts in my all. But if something like this could happen, even to me, who dedicated at the time when my kids were young all her life to raising her kids, then imagine the probability of how much it can happen to any mother. This should be a wake-up call for you. Dear mothers, motherhood is so complicated, and the least things can change our whole lives. But motherhood is also like a stepping stone to so much growth and so much improvement in your life. Don't fight it. Let motherhood mold you. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you learned something or you had a similar experience like this and you have something that you might want to share, please use the comment section. More mothers used to need to share their stories like this, unfiltered. I hope you learned something. And remember that even though we are trying so much to make our kids to be smart, in a way that when our child speaks or in public, we'll be like, that's my child. Remember that a child who is not healthy cannot reach those heights. A child who is sick, a child who is afflicted by one thing or the other cannot reach that height. So this is a wake-up call for you to look a little bit deeper into health. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, because I might be bringing more videos with unfiltered motherhood contents like this from time to time. And remember to follow our other channel, Apple Melon, which talks of ways to get your child to be a smart child. But following Inyango, where you're watching this video, and Apple Melon, which is our education platform, the two of them makes a very good combination. Thank you all so much. Let's keep raising mothers who have healthy homes, homes that can thrive, and homes that have people who are future ready. Thank you all, and you have a beautiful day. Remember to subscribe. Bye.